Not so minions! Oh god, what the fuck? I hate everything right now. I hate everything. That's how I feel. I hate everything right now. I awoke, lying in a sparsely furnished room with a ringing headache, touching my hand to my cheek to trace the dried stab cut. Details of what happened towards the end of being in Kanai Temple were fuzzy, but I had later gathered that I had been taken to Shirakawa Castle in Oshu. Oshu, a city of culture that allegedly is second only to Kyo in terms of arts, culture, and entertainment. It was famously divided at the end of the Boshin War. Father occupied this castle alongside his forces, and he saw to it that I was kept under strict house arrest. Up until this point, they hadn't made my imprisonment difficult, much to my surprise. On the contrary, they treated me graciously and with dignity, which was eerie to think about. Of course, that courtesy hadn't extended beyond being able to exit the confines of the locked bedroom. Instead, I was made to wait, wallowing in my pathetic uselessness as time slipped from my hands like sand. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Hours felt stretched like mochi over the tongue, and soon it became difficult to keep hold of any reasonable track of time. My only frame of reference to approximate the hours of days was when meals were unceremoniously carried to my room.
失礼します。雪村君。夕食を届けに来ました。今日も手をつけていないようですね。少しは食べないと体が持ちませんよ。
I'm not hungry.
それは残念です。しかし、こうして私が君の世話をするというのもなんだか不思議ですね。新選組にいた時はあなたが私の世話をしてくれていたというのに。
What happened to Heisuke, Sen, and Kimikiku? I interrupted his anecdote in frustration. Sanan's son thinned his eyes, letting out a heavy sigh as he recited the same answer as he had given before.
信じたくはないのでしょうが、何度聞いたところで私の答えも事実も変わりません。千姫たちは無様にあの場から逃げ出し、その後の行方は分かりません。東堂君は私がこの手で打ち果たし、遺体は寛永寺の不忍の池に沈めました。
You lie.
嘘ではありません。あなたも目の前で見たでしょう。東堂君が私に切られて倒れる姿を。
Why? Who are you? This isn't the Sanan son I know. You killed him. You were friends.
かつての仲間の間違いでしょう。今の私は新選組総長ではありません。誠の旗を捨てた男なのですから。
Colonel, an adversary position to the chief of the Shinsengumi, second only to the chief in terms of rank. My teeth were harshly gritted, creaking in contempt. He was rubbing it in my face, taking pleasure from my helplessness, shattering what remained of my trust. Luckily for myself, neither father nor Sanan-san had bothered to take my kodachi from me. As I reached for it slowly with my hand, the door startled me as it slid open, and I snapped my hand back to the side of my hip.
千鶴の様子はどうかね、三男君。
こちらに来ていたんですか。特に変わりはありませんよ。
Father, Kaoru.
そんな目で俺を見るなんて、まだ反抗するだけの気力があるんだ。
I still want to slap the fuck out of Kaoru every time I see his goddamn face. Especially after this fucking line.
Sa っさと素直になった方がいいよ。じゃないと痛い目に遭わせなくちゃならないじゃないか。
やめなさい、薫君。千鶴は我々にとって大事な体なのだよ。
冗談に決まってるでしょ。大事な妹なんだからね。
A festering resentment burned in Kaoru's glare, causing the hairs behind my neck to stand upright. I couldn't let them see any signs of weakness in me, though, and had returned the glare twice-fold. Tell me, what do you plan on doing with me? What are you plotting, father?
どうするも何も長年の夢を叶えるために協力してほしいと思っているだけだよ。
Your legacy?
私はこれまでずっと落ち水の研究を続けてきた。日の光や吸血衝動などの弱点の克服、狂うことなく羅刹へなれるようにと。だが本当の目的は落ち水の効能の強化ではない。この国に住むすべての人へあの奇跡の霊薬が行き渡るよう落ち水を量産することなんだよ。
A crooked, joyous grin warped over father's face. Hearing what his true intentions were was anything but joyous, though, and I was beginning to feel queasy, imagining the world he had envisioned. Sanan-san and Kaoru merely nodded in silence. Wait, so all this time, you've been masquerading this as a weapon, but you want civilians to take it?
ああ、素晴らしいだろう。人と鬼の区別はなくなり、鬼が普通に暮らせる世の中となる。怪我や病気で亡くなる者も減り、多くの命が救われる。
Either this is a bold lie or they just can't give Kodo the most... keep his story straight for Kodo.
さらには、迫り来る外国に対して民のすべてが無敵の兵士と化すのだよ。だが、この計画には難点があってね。落ち水の原料は限られたもので、大量生産が難しい。そこで私は試行錯誤を重ね、やがて発見するに至ったのだ。落ち水の培養に最も適しているのは鬼の血液だとね。
Don't tell me.
純血の女鬼であるお前はその最も優れた血の持ち主であり、私の夢を体現した存在なのだよ。
There was once a time when I couldn't help but notice the innate kindness resting in Father's eyes. That time had ended, replaced by a salaciousness that haunted me to my core. It enveloped me, causing me to shiver with fear, and I took a step backwards from him.
これは名誉なことなのだよ。途絶えようとしていた雪村家の血がこの国を 文字通り染め抜いていくんだ。お前さえ協力してくれれば、日の本は私の手で生まれ変われるんだよ。
No! I would never, ever help you do such a horrifying thing! I threw a fit, shaking my head in a white-hot rage. Father, who cut his teeth saving the lives of his patients, was proposing to infect the country for his own delusional sense of justice.
娘から血を絞り羅刹を量産ですか。親のすることとは思えませんね。
何を今更。そもそも実の娘でもないから当然じゃないか。
What? I wasn't his real daughter?
お前も本当に察しが悪いね。考えてみろよ。もし実の父親だったら、俺がおじさんなんて呼ぶはずないだろう。雪村光道は俺たちを本家から誘拐し、計画のためにお前を育てた偽の親。つまりお前はそんな誘拐犯を父様と慕ってたわけだ。不要とされて南雲家に回された俺は悲惨な人生だったけど、お前はむしろ滑稽な人生だね。
How was any of this possible? My world was spinning, replaying Kaoru's words in my head, though they failed to register. I darted a look over at Father, whose only response was a smug, toothy smile.
血のつながりがなかろうと、私がお前を育てた事実は変わらないよ。千鶴、お前はいい子だから父さんの計画に協力してくれるだろう。
No, Father, I can't. Even for you. Poisoning innocent lives and turning them into furies against their consent is inconceivable. What world do you expect anyone to live in afterwards? Ash, blood, and rubble? It's madness!
聞いたかね、三男。羅刹の国は地獄だそうだよ。
Sanan offered no response, choosing instead to tilt his gaze downwards, causing my guilt to flare. Father pounced on this moment of vulnerability, sinking me deeper and deeper into self-loathing.
別に今の発言に限った話ではない。新選組とてそう思っているはずだ。今まで羅刹の力に頼りながら、ここに来て危険な存在だと疎む始末。結局、彼らは恐れているのだよ。羅刹の優れた力をね。
そうかもしれませんね。
No, I think...
そんなに慌てては事実だと言っているようなものだ。私とてお前がすぐに羅刹の素晴らしさを理解できるとは思っていない。時間はまだあるんだ。私の計画がどれだけ壮大なのか三男君に教えてもらうといい。そうすればお前もきっと父さんの言うことが理解できるだろう。
Father waxed on condescendingly, not bothering to wait as he beckoned Kaoru to follow his exit.
城内の一部は出入り自由としておこう。では、あとは頼んだよ、三男君。
ええ、わかりました。
As Father and Kaoru sauntered out of the room, a somber mood fell heavily throughout the room. I shot Sanan a menacing glare, hoping that he'd stand no chance of missing how upset I felt. His betrayal shattered my confidence in him. He had played me for a fool, and I felt doubtedly foolish for having believed in him. Sanan murdered Heisuke in cold blood, knocked me unconscious, and abducted me to bring me here. For the time being, I hated him more than anything. And yet,
私は君が計画に賛同してくれるよう説得しろと命じられています。とりあえずは行きましょうか。私の部屋でお茶でもお出ししますよ。
By my estimation, it had been somewhere close to 10 days since I was held captive in that cramped room. Getting out of it hadn't necessarily improved my foul mood, but being able to stretch my legs and take in a breath of fresh air was a welcome change. As Sanan led me down the hallway, I first observed how eerily spacious and devoid of life the castle was, likely attributed to all the Furies on patrol. Well, this is a room. Eventually, Sanan stopped in front of his door, pausing for a second before sliding it open to reveal a bare room filled with an array of stacked documents. It bore no resemblance to his room for when we lived with Shinsengumi, so I assumed it was assigned to him rather than chosen. He then poured me a cup of tea.
さてと、それでは一体何から話すべきでしょうかね。
Well, then let me ask you a question first.
何なりと。
Is this really what you want? Are you oblivious to how insane my father sounds? He's gone mad. I can't believe what he's planning on forcing everyone to drink the water of life.
賛成と答えたらどうします？
Okay, now I have the urge to slap Sanan.
自分が羅刹であることでこれほど苦しみ続けるぐらいなら、世界を私と同じように変えてしまおう。ひねくれた人間ならそう考えてもおかしくないと思いますが。
That couldn't be further from the truth. I know you, Sanan-san. There's kindness inside of you. That's why none of this makes sense to me. You aren't cruel. You're just misunderstood.
本人の前でそれを言いますか。人に優しいと言われたのは随分と懐かしいような気がしますね。
A gentle smile formed on Sanan-san's thin lips, but as he chewed on the word for a minute longer, his expression became suddenly bitter. I bit my lip nervously, sitting at the opposite end of Sanan-san's piercing gaze, until he shook his head.
お察しの通りですよ。私は行動さんの計画のすべてに賛成する気はありません。むしろ実現の可能性を考えても愚かな選択だと思っています。
Then why go through all of this? Why did you sneak out of the Shinsengumi to work under my father?
本当に聞きたいですか？聞いてみれば驚くぐらいに単純で拍子抜けするような理由ですよ。
I don't care. Please, I just need to know. I need to hear it from you, so I can know whether or not to trust you.
羅刹を生きながらえさせるため、そして 彼らを再び人に戻すためです。
Alyssa's smile curled in the corner of Sanan-san's mouth, warm and fleeting like a summer sunset. Then he pulled the collar of his shirt to expose his bare chest. What? I was aghast, throwing my hands over my mouth. What? His skin had dried and cracked like stone, stretching over his pale, narrow left shoulder. Oh. What happened to you? To your arm?
君も見たでしょ。力を使い果たした羅刹が灰となって崩れ去る姿を。
Jesus.
私の推察が正しければ、おそらくはあれと同種、その前兆でしょ
う。No!
私が連れてきた羅刹隊の一部にもこうした前兆が出ている者がいます。むしろよく持った方でしょうね。3年以上前から羅刹だった身としては。
So, Sanan-san was dying. Is that why you're so obsessed with working with my father on his research?
そういうことです。あのまま新選組にいたところで我々は座して死を待つだけでしたから。だから私は新選組を裏切り、君を裏切り、東堂君を殺したのです。私と私を信じてついてきてくれた羅刹隊の大使たちの命を救うために。
Heisuke wasn't so lucky, though, was he?
彼は自ら滅ぶことを選びました。それならばせめて私の手でと。本当に残念です。
Sanan-san turned his head wistfully, hastily covering his chest back up as he glanced off to the side in contemplation.
いつかはこの日が来るだろうと覚悟を決めていたつもりでした。羅刹となったのが私だけなら東堂君と同じ道を選んだでしょう。ですが私は多くのものを羅刹へと変えてきました。その彼らを見殺しにして私が先に朽ちていくわけにはいかなかったのです。羅刹の身に誇りを持っていたつもりでしたが、このありさまです。
Sanan-san gave a derisive laugh, and I couldn't help but feel sorrow at his lamentable position. Of course, I still couldn't forgive him for killing Heisuke, nor had I any intention of doing so. But what right did I have to criticize him for fighting to shape his own destiny? There was an altruistic end to his dastardly means. Under his wings were the fragile lives of the Furies he swore to protect from those who had them condemned to remain hidden in the shadows.
同情することはありませんよ。私の行動はすべて身勝手から出たもの。そしてそんな行動自体、もはやすべてが無意味なものと化しつつあるのですから。
What do you mean by that?
ここ数日の研究と高堂さんの意見ではっきりしました。一度羅刹と化した存在が人間に戻ることは絶対にありえない。だ だそうです。新選組を裏切り仲間を切り捨てた結論がこれとは。神仏は人の行いをよく見ているようですね。
A regretful frown covered Sanan-san's face, and I said, "You're still here. Please, don't let it get to you." A sullen glow twinkled faintly in Sanan-san's eye, and I reached out to touch his soft, rosy cheeks. I wondered if they felt as warm to him as they did to me. If somehow I could transfer the heat of my fingers to his face, I could get through to him, and so I moved to cup his cheeks with both of my hands. "You are still alive."
だから言っているでしょう。もうじき私の体は崩れて。
But for the time being, you're still here. Am I wrong? If the only thing you've taken from any of this is that you don't feel like you'll ever become human, sure, the options of returning back to normal might not be available yet, but there may be a way to prolonging your life while you're still Fury. Silence hovered between us, save for the sound of steam hissing from my teacup. As Sanan-san let my words sink, he bit his lips and hastily wrapped his hand around my arm. I gasped, and he spoke under his breath.
わかりませんね。どうしてあなたはこんなにも汚れてしまった私に優しい言葉をくれるんですか。そんなことをされたら私はありえない夢を見てしまう。これからこの先も君と共に生きていけると思ってしまう。そんなことあるはずがないのに。
No, not as much as you might think. I think what you just said sounds beautiful. Listen, when all of this is over, why don't you and I go on a journey? Just the two of us. We could find a quaint town where no one knows our name, where there are no Furies anywhere, and we could make dinner every night, and...
やめてください。想像するだけ虚しくなります。
But what if, like you said, you could return to being a human? No. It shouldn't be conditional. We could do it even if you were still a Fury. Can't you see? We could build a home together, and while you read or write, I could serve you tea, just the way you like it.
私は羅刹なんですよ。そんな普通の幸せが送れるはずもない。
You know, when you disappeared from the headquarters, I was worried sick about you. I searched for you day and night, and not a single day went by where I hadn't thought about you. You have no idea how much I've missed you. A glimpse of your face, your soothing voice. And that's when I began to realize how drawn I am to you.
やめなさい。私は羅刹だと言っているじゃないですか。
That doesn't matter. I...
さあ、教 しゃべりはそこまでです。
What? As Sanan interjected, he grabbed my chin with his index finger and thumb and pulled me closer to him. With an inspective, focused gaze, he stared at me. What do you plan on doing to me? I attempted to budge out of his grip, but he was forceful, tugging on my chin just as quickly. The longer he delayed his answer, the more anxious I became, until at last I felt the tinge of his whispered words upon my sweaty face.
もし今の続きを話すつもりなら、力ずくで塞がなければなりません。それでもいいですか?
I could neither accept nor retort, offering instead to grunt begrudgingly.
私は羅刹です。そんな私への感情はおそらく同情か錯覚です。目を覚ましなさい。
Well, maybe I like dreaming. This time, I promise not to let my faith in you waver. All that I ask is that you have faith in me too, Sanan-san, and that you'll let me go wherever you go. Just please, don't leave me behind again. A life without you is one I can't afford to experience.
あなたという人は。
Sanan-san inched his face forward. Suddenly, my face went numb, feeling Sanan-san's tender lips pressed against mine.
本当におしゃべりで可愛い人ですね。さあ、覚悟はいいですか?
You have broken my concentration, thanks. Ready for what?
口を塞がれる覚悟です。
Never mind, Sanan broke my concentration again. Sanan-san took hold of me, keeping his arm fixed on the small of my back as he drew me into his warm embrace. I felt the nibble of his soft lips against my own, followed by his tongue flicking against mine gently. My cheeks were scorching red from blush, but even they could not compare to my heart's burning fire. Every hair on my body stood, engulfing me in a pleasant tinge as Sanan-san muttered in my ear.
あなたが私と共に歩むというなら、私は命に代えてもあなたのことを守ります。いいですね。
I nodded in response, letting myself sink against his bosom. Bosom is just a weird fucking word and it has appeared twice now. I just say chest, damn it. After a moment of holding each other, he backed away. Sanan-san.
今はまだここにいる必要があります。この先、私はあなたが望まない行動も取ることになるでしょう。それでもいいんですね。
はい。
こんな私のこと、あなたは。
And we have reached the final round, round 4. In the middle of his sentence, Sanan clutched his chest. It was unmistakable. This was bloodlust. I decided to, and say it with me for the final time, this, root. Give him blood. Here, take me. I trust you. Have some of my blood. Out of reflex, I drew out my kodachi and slit my wrist. I told you, I can't live without you, and if your survival depends on blood, then mine is yours to take. Please, there's no need to hold back. I am yours, so use me as you please. Please, Sanan, drink my blood.
Arigatou, Yukimura-kun. 私はまだ死ねない。そのためにあなたの血を吸います。
As you wish.